Hello, everybody. I'm Sharon Lee Williams, here again, here with you on OutRaised Voices. I'm so glad you're here. If you've been here before, as I always say, thank you. And if you're new here, I want to say thank you, thank you. I appreciate you, and our community appreciates you. But today, you know what we're talking about today? We're talking about money mindset. Now, we all know about money, money, money. There's songs about money. There's stories about money. But today we're talking about money mindset. Yep. Well, you're going to find all that out. Now, my friend, Regina Martinelli, is going to be our CEO today. You know, conversation, education, and outreach. Yes, our CEO. So she is going to take us through what money mindset is, what a money mindset is, and how, and other things too we're going to talk about. But we're going to start off with a money mindset. And I know it's important for all of us to understand that, what our childhood chatter was, everything. So Regina is going to bring us through that, right, Regina?
Absolutely.
So hi, everybody, and this is Regina Martinelli. Hi,
Woo.
Regina.
Hi, Shirley. Happy to be here.
Okay, let's start off with what is a money mindset? And what's a money mindset, and how does it kind of influence our financial choices that we make?
Such a great question, Shirley. So a money mindset is beliefs. It's the mindset is the beliefs, the networks of beliefs that have gotten laid down, ingrained, and entangled to form how you approach money, how you feel about money, how you interact with money. And do know that we're not always 100% in one money mindset. We have so many different beliefs and patterns that are laid on top of it. So sometimes we can feel really great about ourselves and money. Sometimes we can feel not so great, and all the places in between. But money mindset can show up, or what yours is, by how you relate to money. If you've ever done this, is a great way to figure this out, because it's a part of an exercise I do. Sit in a chair and look across at another chair. And in that chair, just put the energy of money. Just mentally put it there. And then notice how you feel about looking at money. Is there a connection? Is there not a connection? Do you feel like, I gotta have it? Or do you feel like, oh my God, it's horrible, it's overwhelming? Or like, what is that experience like for you? And it starts to give you the subconscious beliefs under the conscious beliefs. Because consciously we can say, I have enough, or I want more abundance, or there's a lot of beliefs we can have. There's a scarcity of money. You're evil or bad if you want money, or spiritually, you're not supposed to want money, or I need more, there's not enough, or I'm fine with what I have. There's so many different conscious beliefs we hold. Then there's the unconscious stuff that informs our physical sensations and our subconscious, other than conscious, interactions and manifestations in the world. That may be a lot of people. Let me explain what I mean.
So, and before you actually explain what you mean, when you say that exercise of sitting, looking in the chair, are you naming the chair? Are you naming that's your money chair? Or how are you doing that? You're saying that's money over there. How am I relating to it?
The energy of money sits in that chair.
The energy of money sits in that chair. Okay. All right.
And here's a fun clue. If that energy of money has anything other than the experience of benevolence and blessings, then you've got something projected onto it, whether it's something from your childhood, your own beliefs, something from family conditioning or cultural conditioning or society has been placed upon it. And you're interacting then with that belief or that notion instead of the energy of true money. True energy of money is really one of blessings and benevolence. It's one way that the universe wants to bless us. God wants to give us good things. Money is just one of those things. And so when it feels like something else, it means we've got something else projected onto it. And so we keep getting that experience as we reach for money. Now, I love working with money because it is like a spiritual highlighter. It shows us the unconscious beliefs and patterns that are there when we reach for something that we want. Because money's one way that we engage with the world. And if we're reaching for something we want, and then we get it and we feel guilty, kind of like you use your credit card, you buy things, and at the end of the month, you're like, oh, I dread looking at that statement. Oh, I dread this. What does that say about you allowing yourself to have what you want? And there's also things where we may judge other people who have money or judge other people who don't have money as we do or have more than us. And they think it's they don't deserve it. And we start to look at money as a thing that you deserve by being a certain way. And none of that is true. Because when we put ourselves into that place, then there's always this, like, you have to deserve. My family, I grew up, you had to work hard. I come from generations and generations of farmers who work the land. So if growing up, if I didn't work hard for my money and I had a windfall, that money would disappear because I hadn't worked hard enough. So my subconscious belief was, you don't deserve this. It has to go. And that could be like, I needed new tires for my car. There's a leak in the roof, or an unexpected expense would show up. It was never something I planned for.
Well, I just want to say that people, they talk about people, when you say windfalls, people who have won lotteries and lose big money and lose that money within, like, millions within 2 or 3 years, because they don't have the concept of money coming in. And what you're saying is, like, if you come from the mindset, well, I haven't earned it, it doesn't belong to you, really. You're not owning that.
Yes, exactly, Shirley. And consciously you can say, oh, I believe I do. I believe I do. But if subconsciously you have something else running from childhood or something else in your growing up, that's going to take seniority. And exactly the lottery one I talk about, I use as an example a lot. It's perfect because if their belief system is, I deserve this much, but they get a lottery win this high, their subconscious system has to bring that amount back down to here, if not lower. And it's like they don't have a spending problem, they have a belief problem. So unconsciously, they don't have a big enough container, they don't have enough belief about who they are and what they deserve to be able to hold that amount of money. We see this also in celebrities who skyrocket to fame when they're young, and then they totally trash their lives. It's the same thing. They don't have those foundational beliefs. They can say, sure, I deserve it. I wrote the songs, I made the movies, I did the things. But there may be this unconscious running pattern that they're not aware of that actually sabotages it. This also happens in relationship. If you're fine with money, it may show up in your relationship or your health because there's a part of us that will not allow us to have more than we think we deserve. And it also, let me say it this way, by the time you're 6, what you believe you deserve, how much love you believe you can have, how much goodness, safety and relationship, and also how easily you can have all those things is in place by the time you're 6.
Yes.
Shirley, would you ever ask a 6-year-old how much you deserve of abundance to have in your life?
Yeah, no, we're not going that. You might not even ask a 16-year-old, never mind the 6-year-old who comes out. Like, when you talk about that, we don't have that conversation. And generationally speaking, I'm from the era where people didn't talk about money. You know, I'm coming up in the 50s where you don't talk about money. You just have to do. Well, the only thing I remember hearing was eat all your food. Think of the children, starving children in Africa. But there was never save your money. I knew I had to save my money because I wanted candies. If I wanted to go on Friday with my little bitty allowance for candies. But that was the only thing I knew. So as you grow up and you don't have that, like you say, you're coming with that childhood belief, well, I don't deserve it, or don't talk about money, or listen, be appreciative, be grateful for what you've got. So speak to that, how many limiting beliefs are, not how many, but limiting beliefs that just get us kind of stuck there.
Thank you. Yes. And it's one of those things that's so interesting when you say to a kid, enjoy what you have. They're like, they don't have a concept of that. They're just in the present moment. And also, this is so common. So I'm so happy that you shared it because, it's the same thing most of us grow up with, which is eat your food, think of the starving children. And what we can say as adults now is that doesn't make any difference. If I eat more, that doesn't help someone else gain weight. If I have really good health, it doesn't help you or someone else who may be struggling. We can't take medication for other people. We can't work out for other people, right? There's this place of, it's about doing your internal stuff first. And that guilt and shaming of like, it's so funny, eat all your food, but there's also the opposite side of like, you have enough money. Don't take too much or don't be successful. So, because you'd be taken away from somebody else, but you're not eating for those children and they're getting healthy. We have these really conflicting views that happen and that create these patterns in and how we view the world. Like, I want to reach for more, but how much can I really reach? How okay is it for me? Like if you went to a funeral and everybody was there, saying goodbye to someone they loved, and you just found out you won the lottery, how okay would you be with jumping up and celebrating in the middle of all that sadness?
That's a whole other thing coming in there. Do you want to share? Do you want to talk about that? Do you feel good to shine? That's a whole other. That's a whole other.
Yeah.
I guess level. But what do you think are sort of the connections between what we hear is in childhood? Although you're speaking to that, what we hear in childhood, like as you say, you have enough, or, people are mean, people have money, get money. Oh, they're awful. They're just, why are they awful? I see people limiting themselves now. Well, no, because you want to be liked, you want to be loved. And money means if you have a lot, people aren't going to like you somehow, or the people you love aren't going to like you, or there's all kinds of jealousy around that. So, or what you feel. So how does that work becoming an adult and dealing with that with that childhood, I guess, languaging?
Right. So a lot of times, like I'll say for myself, as a child, well, I realized this as an adult, like getting on a bigger stage and sharing the work that I do more prominently, I would have this fear. It was about a fear of being seen. And because when you're seen, when I was younger, you became a target. So people can feel that way about money. If I have more money, I become a target. People want things from me or they want to take me down because mostly when there's that jealousy about somebody else having good things, whether it's health, relationship, money, what have you, it's because the person who's jealous doesn't feel they can have that too, that they can create that good thing for themselves as well. So there's beliefs that have happened. And maybe as a child, when they reached for what they want, they weren't able to get it, or they were scorned or shamed for it. And then people who feel that way then shame others who have it to feel better about themselves. So then there's no room as you grow up in a place like that to actually celebrate somebody else's win and somebody else's good fortune.
Yeah.
But you would never say to someone, Sharon Lee, you have enough blessings in your life. You should just be happy with that.
Yeah.
Or you have enough good health. Leave some for the rest of us. Like you would think that was odd or kind of rude for someone to say. Money is the same way because it's really just the energy of benevolence and blessings from the universe. So if you hold it that way, then there's no limit to it. There's no scarcity. And it can show up more than just in cash or dollars. It can show up in so many more ways. And it's hard as an adult if you've been living with this belief, like, oh, I have to work hard for my money because my whole family worked hard, and who am I to have it easier than them? I would have guilt and shame if I have it easier when so many people before me sacrificed, died, struggled to, even put food on our table and have a shelter over our head. So there's that kind of self-limiting belief. Yet as an adult, we may say, oh no, but I want more. I want more success here and I want more of this there. But this belief is running. And so it starts to limit. It's like our own glass ceiling on ourselves, and it holds us down. And that's happening when there's something that you wanted and that you're struggling for and it's not coming as easily, or it's almost there and it disappears, or you have it and then it's not the form that you want. It's dissatisfying and you don't feel satisfied. These also create scarcity beliefs. And some of the beliefs that trip people up around money is that they think it's their freedom. They think it'll give them freedom. Money in itself is not freedom, because how many people do we know who have lots of money who don't feel free to take a vacation, to take time off work, or to turn off their cell phones and their laptops when they are on vacation? Yet we also know people who don't have a lot of money who seem to be traveling and doing these things that they love to do, and allowing themselves things in their life, and it just seems to work out. So money is not your freedom. It's also not what helps you move or keeps you stuck. It's really our beliefs about money and what we think money is going to bring us. So if you set that aside and you really step into, what is it that I want? What is it I really want? And some people say, oh, I want lots of money. I want $5 million in the bank. Okay. I'd love to ask, if you had $5 million in the bank, what would having that do for you? Well, I'd feel I could quit my job. Okay. So if you can quit your job, what will having that do for you? Oh, I'd have more freedom. I'd have more time. What would having more freedom and more time do for you? Again, another layer. Oh, I don't know. I could start painting. I could start seeing my grandkids. I could start doing this, doing that. I'd be happier and at peace. Oh, so what you really want is to be happier and at peace. Versus the $5 million in the bank, or the people who hope to win the lottery, is a strategy to get to feeling happier and being more at peace. When those things of chasing the $5 million or buying all the lottery tickets are a lot more work to do than finding the peace and the happiness inside. That's much easier. You can have that today, and then you can still create the $5 million in the bank. You can still create a winning lottery ticket in your life, but doing it from a place of having peace and happiness is going to be so much easier to manifest and more joyful, more fun. Does that make sense?
Oh, fun, yes, and joy. But do you find more people today? I don't know if you're dealing with that because of, these times are a little. We're not stable, or we're not feeling that we're feeling this instability. Do you find there is more fear around this money mindset? Is there more fear? Are we hoarding it more, or are we? Do you find that with your clients, or?
Yes, yes, and I see it in the world. I mean, I'm someone who does turn off the news. I do very little news because it is programmed to fear. But I do like to know what's going on. So there's certain places, but yes, and what happens is those current events trigger those childhood fears, those patterning that are laid down for generations. It brings them to the surface. And one thing that is always good to do is to stop and not get too far out into the future. Because like overwhelm or anxiety about, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen for things you can't control are too far out in the future. So it's like, what can I control today? What can I do today for myself that I need to do that would make me feel better, safer, or more at peace? And one thing is I just had it in my mind, is finding the place in you where you have self-sovereignty. And what I mean by that, like you are in control of your own happiness and your own safety. Because if you're waiting for it to happen out there where the government's all fine and things are all stable and the world isn't on the brink of a war, that may never come, and you can't control that. But you can control how you feel inside and what's going on in here. And then what happens out here is what's happening. But this stays stable. So it's one of those things that I've said to people, I can control what happens in here and I can calm that down. Even if my house started burning and there was, World War III happening everywhere, I know I'm going to be fine, even if I die. I know that sounds extreme, but I know I'm at this place of peace. And in that, I'm not inviting that in. It's, but those outside events don't freak me out and don't cause me to have dysregulated days or my nervous system on fight, flight, or freeze, where I get exhausted, I get anxious, because I'm in charge of my own safety. I'm in charge of how I view those events.
I'm just thinking while I hear you talk, do we have to work on ourselves first and all of this limiting belief and all of this before we even get to a money mindset? Because if we don't have this foundation of I deserve, or I am enough, or hey, it's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay first. So do we have to work on that first before we get to freeing our mindset about money?
Great question. They actually go hand in hand because what informs your mindset is how okay you are inside. What informs your money mindset is how okay. It's one of the reasons I love working with money. It's such a reflection of how much we will allow ourselves to deserve, how much we allow ourselves to reach for what we want, and how safe we feel in the world because of how money shows up in our lives. So when that starts to change, your money mindset starts to change. I have people come to me saying, I want to change this way I view money and how my relationship with money is. Great. And we start going through what that experience is. And I can trace back that experience they had with money is very similar to an experience they had with a parent or in their childhood or a grandparent, somebody who raised them. Because sometimes we grow up when our mindsets get laid down a certain way about money, that we look to money to fill the hole that we didn't get from our mom or our father, our mother or our father. Like, oh, I need to be reassured. I need to feel safe. We had insecure attachment. So money is going to provide that. And it doesn't. So there's never enough money to fill that hole because we've got to start with our inner work.
Yes, yes, which happens to especially people who are coming out of foster care and people who've had like instability, as you're saying, in their lives, in their young lives.
And one thing I just offer with the instability, yeah, that's very real. If they have people are coming out of that foster care, if they have if they have curiosity about, I'm bumping into instability, how else can I get to where I want to go? Who else can I ask? Can I go to the library? Can I read a book? What else can I do to help me get the resources? If you trust yourself to start asking questions of people, the internet, of whoever's around you, and then taking those answers in and deciding if they actually align with who you are, you then can create the confidence to be able to navigate more instability or the instability that may show up. Does that make sense?
It does, but also money also represents power and control, right? So when you're when you come from something that is unstable, a life that is, whatever, and power, that if the people in charge of you, money is controlling you. So sometimes you come out and you want to get as much money. So it's not even about controlling yourself. It's about controlling others, and you don't even realize that's going on, because you don't have because we don't want that control. No, I'm going to make as much money. But how you do, if you're not releasing all the, I deserve it. I deserve to be happy, and I deserve to have all of this. It's the power of money can be just as destructive, I think, as having a scarcity mindset. To me,
Right. Thank you. And there's a place of what you're also alluding to is the choice, right? Like, again, it goes back to like money gives us choices or gives us freedom to move or not move. And actually, as I said before, money can be part of that, but it's not in and of itself. When we realize that we have just as much power as anybody else on this planet to create what we want, that's the first step. How much do you believe that you have just as much power? And I don't mean like get out there and toil away and slam the jackhammer and do what you need to do to climb that mountain. I mean the internal manifestation, like your connection to the universe, God, all that is, however you want to say it, and into your own higher self. Because there are things like, have you ever said like, oh, I'd really like to do this, or I'd really like this to happen, or I'd like to find, a pair of flip-flops. And all of a sudden there's the pair of flip-flops on sale and you're like, hey, it's right here. How funny. We always could have laughed that off as serendipitous or whatever. That's actually your ability to create something. It's just as easy to create hardship, instability, and trouble and struggle as it is to create good things, abundance. So power comes when we feel like people wanting to take power when they feel like they can't create stuff on their own. And when you know you can create all that you need and all that you want, then you actually have more choice and freedom. And then that is more powerful than the power that seems to come with money. Does that make sense? Because that then is attached to something else that could be unstable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
it doesn't take much, but you have to be willing to let go of the old beliefs. And even if you don't tell people about it, because you're like, I don't want to be shamed or made fun of or whatever it is, if I say, hey, I can believe what I want, you just start noticing like, I want to see a ladybug today. I just want to see a ladybug today. And then you see a ladybug, you're like, and it could just be a picture on a label or on a car or one of those Volkswagen bugs that's painted red with black spots. And you're like, oh, thank you, universe. Yeah, I created that. So now what I want to find $1 today, or I want to be able to help someone with my gifts and talents that I love giving, whether it's a song or play a little soccer or whatever it is, like the thing I love most. I want to be able to provide that for someone today. Please have someone show up and ask me for that today. There's ways to start building your confidence about how you can create things, how you can create opportunities, money, and abundance. And doing these little exercises starts to shift the old beliefs into there's more evidence of the new beliefs. And then there's a tipping point where you actually have more of the mindset that you want.
So when you do manifestations, when we do, okay, we get up in the morning. I'm asking you now. I don't know, but we get up in the morning, and how do we do this? What's a step, or what? How do we do this?
Oh, there's so many different ways. So I can describe what I do just because it's simple. I'm not someone who does affirmations, because affirmations deal with the language up here, and it's trying to put it, in my opinion, and affirmations are great. Let me just qualify this, to put your focus on something that you want. But it reminds me of putting a fresh coat of paint on a wall that's falling down. You know, because if you're saying, I'm abundant, I deserve, but underneath there's all this patterning enmeshed in, oh my God, I feel worthless, I'm not enough, then that fresh coat of paint, that affirmation is not going to do much. You know, once you get the internal stuff solid, then those affirmations are great. So what I do is I'll wake up, and it's like, however you speak to your higher self, God, all that is, even your spirit guides, I just thank them for the day. And then I say, please use me for my gifts and talents. Please let me be used for my gifts and talents today. And I started doing this, Sharon, I kid you not, every day for 2 weeks, and in the evening, and then I got out of bed. I mean, it's just that simple. It takes, a minute. And I would say, thank you for using my gifts and talents today. And please, let's do it again tomorrow. And then in the morning, I'd say it again. Every day for 2 weeks since I started saying this, someone has reached out to me, a friend, an acquaintance, people I hadn't talked to for a long time, someone I was dropping off my kid at school, a parent would grab me. I was coaching people, holding space for people for 2 weeks every day. And I loved it, because those are my gifts and talents. Those are things that I love most to share with people. And if you're clear about what you want to share, then, those are your gifts and talents.
So can we have a moment of you just saying that again, if you don't mind? I think it would be very helpful for our audience to just hear you say that and take a breath. We're going to take a breath with you.
Okay. Deep breath. And I do it like this. To like divine oneness, God, all that is, however you call it, right? To my guides, spirit guides, healing guides, master guides, I ask that you use me for my gifts and talents today. Please use me for my gifts and talents today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for that, Regina. Thank you.
You're welcome. And guess what? In the third week of doing that, the people who I helped in the first week started referring people to me this third week. So I had 3 new clients start. I had other opportunities show up, speaking gigs. And I didn't charge anybody this first 2 weeks. These are friends and people I know. It was just like, sure, I'm happy to share my gifts and talents, because I knew I was building trust within myself that more was coming. And then that third week, more, then it's like started helping my business. And I was like, this is awesome. And I still love what I do. And it made me really land in how much I love what I do, so that I wanted to give it and I wanted to give it. And then people started requesting and referring. So I share that because it doesn't mean that you have to, who knows what you love to give? Who knows what you love to give? And it can show up in so many beautiful ways. And I just always trusted and thanked.
There's the key word there, trust.
Yeah.
Trust. How do we, well, I know it might be a different topic, but how do we trust our gut that says, okay, what's a step that we can take to say, okay, I trust that the universe has my back?
Yeah, that's about building your relationship with the universe or God. And it's about one of the things, it's about a little bit about what I mentioned before. Like, I want to see a ladybug today. Like asking for it. And if it doesn't show up that day, wait a second day. Let it start to come for what you're asking for. Don't ask for like, I want $5,000 today, because you may have patterning that is going to block that because it's too big of a leap. So start with something small. Or I want someone, I used to do this in my class. I would say like, ask for something. Someone goes, I want a glass of wine tonight. And then her husband came home with a bottle of wine he'd gotten at work, like, randomly. And she goes, he didn't even know I did this. And here's my glass of wine. So it's things like that that you can surprise and delight yourself with. And then take it a step further, get a little journal or somewhere in your phone and type in the things that show up. And at some point you go back and you look and there's 30 things that have shown up. And it starts to train your brain that, oh, look, what I asked for does show up. I can trust that, and start asking for bigger things. And then notice if you get some tension around the next thing you ask for, and you go, oh, you got to get curious with that tension, because that's showing you that there's a limiting belief that is bumping up against, and say, okay, where is this in my body? Oh, it's in my chest. What is this sensation? Oh, it's tightness. Okay. What is the emotion that goes with this? Oh, God, it's fear. Okay, fear, how so? Fear that, oh, I like dread and annihilation. Okay, dread and annihilation, how so? Oh, that I can't breathe. If I reach this, I can't have it. I'll be annihilated. Okay. Oh, wow. I think if I reach that, I'll be annihilated. There's a much younger version of me that does believe that. My adult self can say no. But even just going through that process separates you from that feeling that can sometimes overwhelm and take over our whole body and cause anxiousness where we can't move. So it really starts to pull the threads of the entanglement. And so it can start to separate and have more space and have less of a grip on you.
And I just want our viewers to know, you're not saying this is an overnight. She's not saying this is an overnight thing and it all happens. Maybe let's talk a little bit. How did you decide that you wanted to be a money mindset coach, or get in finances, or when did that come about for you?
Thank you. Well, I have been working in the fields since I was 5 or 6 years old. Again, from a farming family. And so I always had to work hard. And at some point in my 20s, I started noticing that everything was a struggle. And I didn't want to live that way. But I thought I could power through it and will power through it and it would get easier. But it didn't. And like I said, if it got easier, that money would disappear quickly, or that relationship would disappear quickly. I had to have hardship and struggle to deserve it and earn it, every little morsel. So it's like there's all this hard work and this little reward, whether it was in relationship or money. So this went on for some time, and I'd always been interested in self-development work. So I don't want to live like this because I'm exhausted and I'm burnt out, and things just aren't working as I've been promised, that if you work hard, it's all going to come together. So I started finding places to go to work on myself, and started to understand how the brain works, how these beliefs in my childhood really were recreating the same experience from childhood that I was having in adulthood. So instead of a kind of an inflamed family environment at home as a 6, 7, 8-year-old or even younger, I then started having it at work as an adult or in relationships. And there was places where, you don't feel safe. You feel like you're a target, even if it's just emotionally, shamed or uh, attacked. Then I found that in my work, and my bosses reminded me of how I felt like around my parents at times. So I was recreating these cycles because I can tell you why, as I studied the brain, we have something called the reptilian brain, which is at the base of your skull. And that part of your brain has been fully functioning since you were in utero, since you're in your mother's tummy, versus our cerebral cortex, which is up here, which is this beautiful part of our brain that fully comes online in our later 20s. This is where language comes in. This is where how we dream about how beautiful life can be, relationship can be, and things we want to do, and consequences of actions. All of this is up here. It's our senior functioning brain. Back here, it's only worried about survival. So this part of your brain, if there's been trauma or childhood wounds, emotional, physical, mental, when you're younger and you survive it, then that part of your brain goes, oh, okay, we survived it. Are we still alive? We're still alive. And if it happens again and again, oh, we survived it. Oh, we survived it. Then that part of the brain starts to go, oh, since we survived it, it becomes the thing that we need to make sure we know we're surviving. So when you become 18, you leave this house, or maybe sooner because it doesn't work for you, and you go out on your own, this part of your brain starts sorting and filtering for relationships, bosses, coworkers, neighbors, and roommates who will treat you and give you that same wounding or trigger that same wounding from your childhood. Because that part of your brain now needs that experience to know you are surviving, because it knows you can survive it. I see this with money. When people have had an unstable childhood or unstable parents emotionally or physically, their money will look like a roller coaster. Because when they're a child, things are going really good, and then their family environment blows up, and then they feel really bad. They've been, wounded, hurt, traumatized, and then they're safest when right after the trauma, as it starts to climb back up, because whatever happened is settling down, and then it gets to be too good, and then somebody has to blow up. So it's constantly doing this. So with money, when they get a windfall or a good amount of money, they have to spend it, because up here it's triggering, am I safe? When is that? It's unconscious. When is that explosion going to happen, like it did when I was 5?
Absolutely.
And so I come down here, and then they feel safe. And this part of the brain knows you can survive it. And there's a relief in the system of like, oh, I'm at debt again. I'm in debt again. My bank account's at 0. But part of the brain goes, oh, we know how to survive this. And then you work to get it back up again. Yes. And it feels less safe. Like it feels like a responsibility. It feels overwhelming. I have this money. What do I do with it? How do I be responsible for it? And then it's like, all right, we're going to take it away. Yes. And you're not consciously deciding this. This is all stuff that gets patterned down to have this roller coaster, like that mirrors an unstable childhood or parent experience.
And as you're saying that, I'm hearing myself go, yes, I always say it. Not always say, but I remember, and I think I still have that, waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yep.
So, it's like, okay, you can make this amount of money. Yeah, but when is there enough? When is it enough? Well, somebody's going to kick the chair from out of me, so I better keep on gathering those nuts, because somebody's, going to come and I don't know, the other shoe is going to drop,
Right.
So it's a very interesting thing.
It is. And there's a thing, just like you said, we can't solve this overnight, nor would you want to, because your system right now put in a really good strategy to protect you from that, which is to ride this out, and whatever it is you do, your childhood self did to get through that and survive it. But as adults, we don't need that roller coaster anymore. So it's an outdated strategy, and we need time to shore up the foundation to start to change that mindset. Otherwise, if you try to change it all at once, all too soon, then you can actually have a personality split or a break, you can actually have a psychotic break. So, so you just want to do it layer by layer as it comes up, and just notice and let go, notice and let go. There's a lot of different modalities out there. I personally use neurolinguistics programming because it has to do with the language of the brain. And for me, it just works so well. And it's, it's just much more quick.
The
But
NLP program, yes.
yeah,
Do you notice a difference between male and female mindset?
I do to a certain extent. Men seem to put on the adrenaline and the gonna get it done, gonna go slay that dragon, gonna get it done, and they just do it, and they've got a lot more stamina for that because of their hormones, how they're built. And women, we turn against ourselves. We a lot of times say, "Oh, what's wrong with me that I don't have this?" Or "What's wrong with me that I can't do this, or that I do this other thing? I spend my money, or I can't, speak up. There's something wrong with me." We turn against ourselves, and it really wears down on our self-esteem and our confidence and our ability to trust and be in the world and to shine our light.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I always wondered that because men will just, as you say, I mean, you just forge it. We got to do it, got to make money, they're programmed or have been programmed to do that. You got to feed the family. You got to do this. You got to get a good job. You got to da 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 da. And women have a different mindset. We're overcoming a few other things. We think about the stuff a lot. We think about what we have or don't have or what the future is. Whereas I find, I'm not trying to generalize, but I am. But men don't tend to delve into the past as much.
Yeah, they live more in the present.
They live more in the present. Like, this is what I got to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and surely there's value in generalizing at times. There really is. So it's okay to say that because we know that's not true for everybody. And but it also gives us some understanding of behaviors.
What is the most the beautiful money transformation that you've sort of witnessed?
Oh, God, there's so many. So many. So sometimes what I love, I'll say this is a fun, simple one. I had a client who absolutely dreaded looking at her credit card statement every month, and she'd have to reconcile it. And her husband, was fine with what she spent because she was always reasonable with her money, but she just hated it. And to the point where she would pick a fight with her husband to avoid doing it. And then she'd put it off, and then she'd pick a fight with her husband. And, it would take her 6 hours just to sit down. So we worked on that. And one day she came to me in one of my courses and she said, I sat down and did my credit card statement in 10 minutes the other day. And I didn't even realize it until a couple hours later. I was sitting with my husband. I said, "Did you notice I didn't pick a fight with you today?" She goes, It was as if she's always done it that way.
Yeah.
So to me, that's when when you don't even remember how it used to be. It's just like, oh my God, wait, we didn't get in a fight about that? Like I didn't avoid this. I just did it, and now we're enjoying our evening. What?
Oh, cool. Yay.
It's beautiful because it's on so many levels, the relationship with herself, relationship with her husband, and then also with her view of money, right? It's just, I love it.
Yeah, thank you for that. Next question. If you could tell every person or a person one thing about money that could instantly bring them peace, what would that be? What would it be?
You are precious and enough. Your worth is immeasurable. No amount of money can add to it or take it away.
Oh, I love that. No amount of money. You are precious.
Yeah, and your value is immeasurable. You are enough to have exactly what you want, how you want it. And again, no amount of money is going to add to that or take away from that because you are enough just as you are in this moment.
Yeah. I was going to ask, how do we teach children to, or young adults to develop a healthy relationship, empowered relationship with money. But do we have to teach the adults first?
No, you can
Or,
start with kids. Yeah.
okay, all right, how would we do that?
It's one of those things is to look at money differently than how your parents look at it or how your culture surroundings look at it. Is like, oh my God, this is the energy of blessings. This is benevolent energy. So if that's true and there's a tool to help you create more and to express your gifts and talents, then you're grateful for what shows up, whether it's in the form of cash, income, someone gives you a box of apples, like whatever it is, or they ask for help or support or trade you something. Like it's instead of looking at money as this kind of static thing that is power, it is choice, or it is freedom, because none of that's actually true. You're locking yourself down and forcing yourself to just have that. And playing the game of, I want to see a ladybug today. Then you start to realize how much you create your reality, and you can actually start to train your brain to sort for the things that you want to experience. So like, instead of driving around going, oh, there's so much traffic going, because then your reticular activating system, your RAS in your brain, will start to filter for more traffic so that you get more of what you're looking for, versus look at all the abundance, look at all the beauty in the world, look at all the life that's out in the world, the trees and the birds that are thriving. Look at the grasses, even the weeds, those are thriving. It takes something to grow for a weed to grow up where it grows, right? And you start to notice that the abundance of those things, then your brain starts to shift and your RAS starts to sort for those things. So then you get more evidence that there's thriving in the world, that there's abundance in the world. And then you can start to breathe easier and it starts to land in your body more. And then it helps you manifest versus manifesting on top of the fear of scarcity or concern for scarcity and limit. It's not going to go well. It's so much harder, and you'll get more fear and scarcity with what you do manifest.
Of course, I have to ask you this. This is a little fun one now. If Money Mindset was a song, what would the title be?
You think about this.
Oh, she's moving. Look at this. I see. She's got a little rhythm going.
Oh my God, I love it. You as a musician. It's funny. I almost hear like money, money, money. You know that song?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's all yours. It's all here. It's for all of us. Like come
money's
and get
for the title is Money's for All of Us.
Yeah, and it's like the love is here. It's it is fun.
That's good. And I have all these questions, but we're going to close up soon. If you were handed, if someone gave you, well, let's say $5,000, said, go and spend it with joy, what would that look like? Just
Well, for me, what causes me joy is to being with people that I love. So I'd grab my son, his friends, and some of the parents, and like, we're going to go have a play date somewhere. There's a place up here called Safari West, which is awesome. Maybe we'd have a picnic and we'd have, it's simple stuff. Like we'd get a bunch of balls, we'd bounce around and go to the beach. And I'd probably have it catered so nobody have to worry about their child being starving. So it would be something like that because it would create a memory and an experience with people I love.
Oh, I love that. I love, love, love that. Now, folks, it doesn't have to be $5,000. It could be $100. You could do things, just open your mind. And maybe, that $100 purely for joy.
But I would say even take the money piece out. If you want to go do something with joy, what is it that makes you happy? Like if you feel like I want to go for a walk or I want to go with a friend, just go do that because just bringing joy raises frequency, raises your manifestation potency and all of that. So you also don't have to spend money to have a joyous time.
That's true. Yeah, raise your frequency, raise your joy level, raise all of it. You don't need the money to do that. And I want to thank you for bringing that in.
Because anything you do to make yourself more happy, more joyful, is good for all of us. It's good for the entire planet.
Yes, yes. Living life with joy. Find one thing. And I say this to people, find one thing every day. There's one thing that you can find that can make you happy, that gives you, brings you joy, whether it is looking at the sun or the trees, especially now it's spring here, and all the leaves are coming out, and I know they had those budding beautiful blossoms coming in, all of that, and it doesn't cost you money, but it gives you a lot of heart and soul and energy and a beautiful feeling.
Right. And let me ask you this, because this touches back to something about earlier, um, which is, like eat food because other people are starving. Well, it's kind of like when we look at spring and at nature, it reaches for what it needs. It reaches for what it wants to thrive. It just reaches and reaches and reaches. It doesn't worry about taking it. Like plants don't worry about taking up too much sunshine. Trees don't worry about that. Also, flowers don't worry about if all the other roses, petunias, daffodils are ready to also bloom. They just start blooming. Because if they had to wait for all the other flowers to be ready, we wouldn't have spring. So you don't have to wait for everybody else to get their mindset in alignment to have goodness show up for them. You just have to do it, because the more you do to be happy with yourself and to create what you want, then there's more evidence that goes against that. This is how life is. It sucks. It's a bummer. You have to suffer. The more of us are creating what we want and having what we want with joy, the more evidence there is that shifts those old mindsets for other people.
Well, Regina, I think that was a beautiful closing thought and attitude to have. I love that. I love that there isn't anything you could say beyond that, because it was so beautiful and full. So, money, 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 money mindset, money joy, money love, but love yourself. Be with yourself. Get inside. Find some joy. Find some joy today, everybody. And I want to thank you, Regina. Thank you so much for saying yes. You are awesome. And I hope I see you sometime soon. You're on the other side of, as far as I'm concerned, the other side of the world right now for me. But I hope I see you soon. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your friendship as well. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. Thank you for having me. It's such a blessing and a gift. And I just love and adore you. It warms my heart to get to see you and laugh with you and chat with you. And I too hope that we can see each other soon. Please let me know when you get to California, because
I will.
see you.
July. So, Your Wealthy Self, that's Regina's show. And tell us a little bit about that. Where is it? What's happening with that?
Great. So I have a little TV show called Your Wealthy Self on the network called e360tv.com. So you can find my show there, where I talk about money. I talk about money and a whole lot more, and kind of the topic that Sharon Lee and I talked about today. And also you can find me on my website called reginamartinelli.com, or if that's hard to remember how to spell it, because it is a lot of words, just go to yourwealthyself.com. And that also will take you to my website. If you have questions, things you want to noodle over with me, topics you'd like me to cover, please send me a note, an email, or find me in those two places. And it's just a joy to help people. So please use me for my gifts and talents.
Yeah, please use me for my gifts and talents. Thank you, Regina. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Be well.
You too.